do something I love. I make it home every evening to an angel God sent from above. I got an 8-point on camera from last year that this season looks like a 10. I got a barn with a fridge full of cold beer, and on the weekend it's full of good friends. I know I'm a lucky man, but I ain't sure I am, 'cause it ain't like anyone deserves the world in the palm of their hand. I've hit my knees, thankful as can be, but the one thing I can't get over is how a guy like me, who'd have been fine with 3, wind up with a 5-leaf clover.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, that quieted everybody up real quick. Usually they don't listen to me. I'm Jim Hess, Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District Manager, and I welcome you to the 82nd annual SWCD meeting. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and being part of this. As you can kind of see, we're a little different than we have been. We got a few things going on here. We put together a 3-day event, and this is our grand finale. And many of you have been here with us, all 3. And when I say 3, it feels like it's been 3 years because we started this, I don't know, Todd, back in August, September probably, with a dream and a concept. And we knew at some point if we set the dates, it was going to happen, and it did. So we've been setting up since Monday. We had a great event here on Tuesday with Machine Repeat, and that's one of the things that I might have splashed a little toy tractors and my display case across the front here for Machine Repeat, and I wanted to thank Jerry Zahner for bringing in some toy tractors to splash across here to kind of build a stage and an area that we had Michiana Bobcat. We had a lot of sponsors. You'll have to go back through. If you click on our event, Jenna did such a great job with her QR code and showed different things. And then I have Richard DeWitt sitting over here. It came up from South Carolina, one of our MS4 guys from Indiana that came up and spoke, and Luke Owen for our Stormwater Days. And then today we wrapped up with our municipal day of good housekeeping, and now it's our annual meeting. And so thank you for coming and being part of this and just soaking this all in. So when we looked at different things through our things that we do and whatnot, you'll see on your centerpieces, might be a little different than what you usually see at different places. And we kind of think outside the box, and so these are cover crops, and Ron Martin was one that, and at the end of the evening, these need to go home. So you can take these, plant these, but these are what you see out in the fields, and this is one of the things that we really promote. Also on the table, you're going to see some apples from Kircher's Orchard, and now they're doing some pretty fancy. Got our logos on them and different things. There's some cards there that kind of illustrates that, and get those. And if you look at also on there's a little bottle of water. And so I kind of have a corny little quote that I saw here, and I called Todd when I found these, and I said, we're gonna use I contacted the company, and I said, I really want you to put this label on for us. Elkhart County Soil and Water jumped out of the box, and we put water in it. So I'm hoping maybe we can get those on that Elkhart County SWCD jumped out of the box and put water in it, because that's kind of the way our theme was this year, is a little bit outside the box and a little bit outside the norm of what normally gets done. I am going to ask Keith Miller. Come up, or do I need introductions? Did I skip one? Because I don't have a program with me. That's Does Alex, hang on, Keith. I might have beat the, does Alex come up? No, I'm on, okay, I'm all right then. That's why I shouldn't have control of the mic and probably have my paper so I don't randomly wander around. Yes, we're going to ask Keith Miller, our associate supervisor here, to give invocation for our dinner. Keith.
Could we bow our heads for prayer? Since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly shown. From the marvels of creation, humankind understands God's plan for us. We have no reason for a lack of understanding. The woodlands provide lumber, thus sheltering mankind and animal. The woodlands were created prolific and sustainable without tillage or fertilization. Trees and food plants grow in large part due to the marvel of photosynthesis. The combining of CO2 gas from air and water from the soil. Result is carbon and sugar for plants and soil microbes and oxygen for mankind. Lord, we are thankful for your creation. We are thankful your creation has provided for many generations of humankind. We desire to be good stewards of your creation. Lord, guide us as we encourage and educate others to keep the water clean, usable, and the soil productive for many generations to come. Amen.
Okay, I think Tracy's ready with our food. So I want to thank Delmar Catering for bringing another fine meal for us and providing that. I am gonna, can we all do it? Like if we just get up, you're gonna run to two sides of the table? Usually I cut people loose and by order, but I think if we kind of just do this and wander over there, run two lines through here, as long as we don't pile up too bad, we can do it. I won't turn any tables loose, so I think we can manage. Let's go eat.
His tail when he hears. I grew up in a good place to be from. My folks still got a bunch of good years. I know I'm a lucky man, but I ain't sure I am. 'Cause it ain't like anyone deserves the world in the palm of their hand. I've hit my knees, thankful as can be, but the one thing I can't get over is how a guy like me, who'd have been fine with three, wind up with a five-leaf clover. I know I'm a lucky man, but I ain't sure I am. 'Cause it ain't like anyone deserves the world in the palm of their hand. I've hit my knees, thankful as can be, but the one thing I can't get over is how a guy like me, who'd have been fine with three, wind up with a five-leaf clover. How'd a guy like me, who could have wound up with weeds, wind up with a five-leaf clover?
It ain't easy, nobody said it would be. You finally find that greener grass, but you're still in the weeds. Ain't it crazy? All the you spend, driving through the rainbow for the pot at the end. I got some rust on my Chevy, but it's ready to roll. I got a rhinestone sky and a song in my soul. It ain't a smooth ride life, it's a winding road. Yeah, it might be gravel, but it feels like gold. I've been climbing, trying to get to the view. I'm at the bottom, but the sky's still pretty damn blue. They say heaven is somewhere on the other side, but I ain't waiting. Hell, I'm thinking it's a state of mind. I got some rust on my Chevy, but it's ready to roll. I got a rhinestone sky and a song in my soul. It ain't a smooth ride life, it's a winding road. Yeah, it might be gravel, but it feels like gold. Yeah, it feels like gold. Yeah, it feels like gold. Got my baby sitting by me, shining like a diamond. Only silver linings in the clouds. And if it starts to rain, I don't worry about a thing. I pull my rose-colored Ray-Bans out. I got some rust on my Chevy, but it's ready to roll. I got a rhinestone sky and a song in my soul. It ain't a smooth ride life, it's a winding road. Yeah, it might be gravel, but it feels like gold. Yeah, it feels like gold. Yeah, it feels like gold. It ain't a smooth ride life, it's a winding road. Yeah, it might be gravel, but it feels like gold. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If I can make a living from walking in the woods, you can bet I'd be sitting pretty good high on a hill, looking at a field downwind. If I can make a nickel off of turning in bass, never worry about the price of gas, I'd be wheeling and dealing and sitting there reeling them in. Hunting, fishing, loving every day, that's the prayer that a country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting and fishing and loving every day. Early in the morning, late in the evening, I'm getting red dirt rich and Flint River paid. Hunting, fishing, and loving every day. I get a little farm pond buzz, sound of gravel when I'm backing up, pulling the string on a 9.92 stroke Murphy. I love it when my baby wants to roll with me, throws her boots on, climbs in a tree, tucking her hair in my hat and she's ready to go. And we get to hunting, fishing, loving every day, that's the prayer that a country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting and fishing and loving every day. Early in the morning, late in the evening, I'm getting red dirt rich and Flint River paid. Hunting and fishing and loving every day.
close them eyes. Let's go there in our mind. Hunting and fishing and loving every day. That's the prayer this country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting and fishing and loving every day. Black coffee in the morning, dark whiskey in the evening. I get red dirt rich and forever paid. Hunting and fishing and loving every day. Woo! Come on. Won't you come along with me? Won't you come along with me? I know you want to see hunting and fishing and loving every day.
When number 3 is just a number and Hank is just a name, when trucks don't sound like thunder and nobody prays for rain, when you don't hear yes sir, yes ma'am, or Jesus on FM, hell I hope I'm in heaven by then. No, I don't wanna go today, but I don't wanna live down here at a place that thinks that place don't exist. There comes a day this country somewhere, country don't fit in. Hell, I hope I'm in heaven by then.
When they pave all the dirt roads and John Deere's are dinosaurs, when the last back 40 gets sold and young boys don't open doors, when you can't hunt a whitetail and keep what you reel in, well, I hope I'm in heaven by then. Oh, I don't wanna go today, but I don't wanna live down here at a place that thinks that place don't exist. If there comes a day this country somewhere, country don't fit in, hell, I hope I'm in heaven by then.
Oh, let me go now. If I don't wake up tomorrow to a world that I don't know,
Y'all don't cry for this old boy, it's just my time to go.
I don't wanna go today, but I don't wanna live down here at a place that thinks that place don't exist.
If there comes a day this country somewhere, country don't fit in, hell, I hope I'm in heaven by then.
Hell, I hope I'm in heaven by then.
My mama talked her daddy into letting me take her out our junior year. She was a hallway queen, out of my league, and I smiled in it. And every night she was in my truck. Young love did what it does, and Daddy said, I know you thought she was the one, and it ain't no fun, but son, that's part of it. Sometimes you're gonna hurt like hell and have some scars from it. Leave you with a story to tell. You live and learn, and good ones go. You'll find out on down the road. And when you lay it all out and get down to the heart of it, man, that's just life. And that's all part of it. Granddaddy cut his teeth and planted that seed across 80 acres of land. He said he checked that gauge and prayed for rain like he knew the big man. All the way to the day that he met him. When Daddy read his will to the family, I just about broke down when I found out he went and left me part of it. Sometimes you're gonna hurt like hell and have some scars from it. Leave you with a story to tell. You live and learn, and good ones go. You find out on down the road. But when you lay it all out and get down to the heart of it, man, that's just life. And that's all part of it, yeah. That's all part of it. Heartbreaks faded and I chased a dream up to Tennessee. Met the love of my life, gave me 2 more. And I don't know who I'd be if they weren't part of it. Sometimes life takes care of itself and heals those scars from it. And leave you with a story to tell. You live and learn, and good ones go. You'll find out on down the road. But when you lay it all out and get down to the heart of it, man, that's just life. And that's all part of it, yeah. That's all part of it. It's all part of it. That's just a part of it. Ooh. This house, we've got pictures down the halls. We've got markings on the walls of what a year can do, how much you grew. We have some rules in this house. We pray before we eat, say I love you before we sleep, and watch football after Sunday service. It's more than bricks and bones, yeah, with a wraparound porch, yeah. Behind that front door's where it all started. In this house we live in, we all get forgiveness. Try our best, but we still fall sometimes, yeah. No, it ain't always
place like home in this house. Oh, in this house. It's more than bricks and bones, yeah. With a wraparound porch, yeah. Behind that front door's where it all started. In this house we live in, we all get forgiveness. Try our best, but we still fall sometimes, yeah. No, it ain't always sunshine, but it's a beautiful life. Got a million memories only you can find, yeah. On a quarter-acre corner lot, ain't gotta knock, the door's unlocked. No, there ain't no place like home in this house.
Well, the road
Turn on the evening news, saw an old man being interviewed. Turning 102 today. They asked him what's the secret to life. He looked up from his old pie, laughed and said, all I can say is, don't blink. Just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think. So don't blink. Well, I was glued to my TV when it looked like he looked at me and said, best start putting first things first. 'Cause when your hourglass runs out of sand, you can't flip it over and start again. Take every breath God gives you for what it's worth. Don't blink, 'cause just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think. So don't blink. So I've been trying to slow it down, I've been trying to take it easy in this here today, gone tomorrow world we're living in. Don't blink, just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think. So don't blink. No, don't blink. Don't blink. Life goes faster than you think. So don't blink. Life goes faster than you think. Don't blink. Don't blink. Life goes faster than you think.
No, he ain't perfect, but
it's high time I tell you, no more messing around. Time to lay these cards on the table and just throw it on out. I'm talking you and me with the same street name, same last name, same everything. It's a real thing, a how feel thing. So I'ma go on and take a swing. You find the spot and I'll find the money. You be the pretty and I'll be the funny. You plant the flowers, I'll plant the kisses. Baby, let's get right down to business. I'll hang the pictures, you hang the stars. You pick the paint, I'll pick a guitar. Sang you a song out there with the crickets and the frogs. You name the babies and I'll name the dogs. Yeah. You can park your car in the driveway. I'll park my truck in the grass. I'll put a little swing on the front porch if you put a little tea in my glass. Watch the sunset from a gravel road. Kiss me in the kitchen on your tippy toes. Still loving on you when the rooster crows. Watching way more than the garden grow. You find the spot and I'll find the money. You be the pretty and I'll be the funny. You plant the flowers, I'll plant the kisses. Baby, let's get right down to business. I'll hang the pictures, you hang the stars. You pick the paint, I'll pick a guitar. Sang you a song out there with the crickets and the frogs. You name the babies and I'll name the dogs. Yeah, laying next to you every night sounds like a damn good life. You find the spot and I'll find the money. You be the pretty and I'll be the funny. You plant the flowers, I'll plant the kisses. Baby, let's get right down to business. I'll hang the pictures, you hang the stars. You pick the paint, I'll pick a guitar. Sang you a song out there with the crickets and the frogs. You name the babies and I'll name the dogs. Yeah, I name the dogs. You name the babies and I'll name the dogs. Yeah, I'll name the dogs.
Sister cries out from her baby bed. Brother runs in, feathers on his head. Mama's in her room, learning how to sew. Daddy's drinking beer, listening to the radio. Hank Williams sings Elijah and Dear John.
There's plenty more food back there. Help yourself. I also, thanks to Gary Waybright, we have ice cream as well. So if you come around the east side here and go over, the ice cream machine is there. We always have that on hand in case everything's a bust. We totally redeem ourselves with the ice cream. So help yourself to that. But there's plenty more food, and then we'll get the meeting underway. But food and ice cream.
Mama is depressed, barely makes a sound. Daddy's got a girlfriend in another town. Bob Dylan sings like a rolling stone. And time marches on. Time marches on. The South moves north, north moves south. A star is born, a star burns out. The only thing that stays the same is everything changes, everything changes. Sister calls herself sexy grandma. Brother's on a diet for high cholesterol. Mama's out of touch with reality. Daddy's in the ground beneath the maple tree as the angels sing and old Hank own song. Time marches on. 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 Time marches on.
Well, this old guitar in the spotlight, girl, if people only knew. Said it's the same guitar, wrote 1,000 songs on, nobody heard but you. Baby, you were singing them first, before anybody ever noticed. Now everybody knows every single word. Think it's time I wrote this. So when my 15 minutes ends and the world loves me a little less, I hope you know that you're the only one I was trying to impress. If I sold out Brian Denny, made my sweet home so proud, all I ever cared about, all I ever cared about was your face in the crowd. I love hearing me singing on that radio, 'cause that means we gon' get paid. But 100 hit songs ain't got nothing on them babies we made. Yeah, this dream come true, it's a dream come true. It's a crazy ride we're on. But I know as fast as famous came, fame is gonna be gone. And when my 15 minutes ends and the world loves me a little less, I hope you know that you're the only one I was trying to impress. If I sold out Brian Denny, made my sweet home so proud, all I ever cared about, all I ever cared about was your face in the crowd. Your face in the crowd, smiling at me, even though you know the mess behind these 6 strings. So when my 15 minutes ends and the world loves me a little less, I hope you know that you're the only one I was trying to impress. If I sold out Brian Denny, made my sweet home so proud, all I ever cared about, all I ever cared about was your face in the crowd. Said all I ever cared about, all I ever cared about was your face in the crowd. Make you mow the grass and do it for free. When you think you're done, he'll say rake the leaves. He'll say it builds character, but it's 90 degrees. You'll cuss him under your breath. He won't let you quit your football team or hang with a kid that lives down the street, 'cause he heard he smokes dope and got holes in his jeans. Looking back, he dads do. Things dads do. Things dads do. Well, Daddy taught me how to throw a curveball the summer I turned 13. First base, first taste of finding a song on my old 6-string. I wish I'd known then what I know now. Yeah, I guess we all do. It wasn't very long before I found out life throws a pretty mean curveball too. It'll get you high, it'll get you low. That's just life and how it goes. Well, Daddy was gone by the time that I felt my first heartbreak. Good Lord, that good Lord sure can give and sure can take. Wish I'd known then what I know now. I guess we all do. Now there's pictures on the wall up and down the hall of me and her saying I do. It'll get you high, it'll get you low. That's just life and how it goes.
I hope everybody enjoyed their dinner. Now we're going to get moving on to the business portion of our meeting. Can you hear me now? Okay. I'd like to start off with a few introductions. We'll start off with the Soil and Water Supervisors. I'll first introduce myself, Alex Waite. I'm the Vice Chairman. We also have Dale Lear. If you guys could stand up. Dean Rink. And Daryl Shover. Thank you, guys. We have a couple of our associates. We have a couple of our associate supervisors here this evening. Gary Kaufman and Keith Miller. Now I'd like to move on to county elected officials. We've got one here tonight, a longtime supporter of our soil and water program, Dave Hess. Let's move on to our staff. We have, as you've already got to meet, Jim Hess, our program manager. Laura Adkins, our secretary. Todd Clark. He handles a lot of different things, especially this week. And then Jenna Waite, she's also my wife. She is the education person. Move on to our NRCS staff. We have Troy Mangis as our fill-in right now. He gets to cover a lot of territory at the moment. And then we also have Chris Gardner. Now let's move on to the approval of our minutes and financial report. At this time, we would like to approve the 2023 annual meeting minutes from the meeting held on March 15th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the floor? Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Now we'd like to approve the 2023 annual financial report, which is found on page 5 of the 2023 annual report. Do I have a motion to approve the 2023 financial report? A second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll have Daryl Shover come up and do our election.
Okay. Every county in Indiana has a soil and water conservation district that is governed by a board of five local landowners who are represented for policies of the program in the district. 2 members of the board are appointed and 3 are elected every year. Or 3 are elected and 1 is elected each year. And since Tom Kircher has decided to step down, Keith Miller has said he would take the place or run for election. So who's eligible to vote? If you are in this meeting and are of legal voting age and own or rent property in Elkhart County, you and your spouse can vote. You also can vote if you represent a firm, company, or corporation that owns or rents land or property located in the county. And to be eligible to run for the position, you must be an occupier of attractive land located within the district and must maintain permanent residence. So as I said, Keith Miller, the nominating committee picked Keith Miller, but we could take nominations from the floor. So is there any nominations to run for this position? Okay, seeing none. Can I have a motion to close nominations? Is there a second? Okay, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Is anybody opposed? So I guess we don't really need to have a vote, so I guess I can congratulate Keith E. Miller on being elected as the next supervisor. This concludes the business portion of the meeting. Now we'll have Troy Mangus come up and speak.
Good evening. Glad to see everybody here tonight. Within RCS, just want to mention a few things. All the numbers and stuff you can see in the program, so I'm not going to belay that. But a couple things that weren't in the program that I thought I would mention is in Elkhart County, this year we brought in, we paid out $78,540.49 through equip contracts. We paid out another $32,797.72 in the conservation stewardship contracts. And then CRP, which is administered through FSA, the Farm Service Agency, they paid out $79,855 through that. So you had a total of federal dollars coming into the county of $191,193.21. Also, just so everybody knows, we do have the EQIP program. We're past our initial deadline, but we are still taking applications. So that's a program to help landowners or farmers if they want to implement things such as cover crops, or some people put in some heavy use protection areas for their pastures, also some animal waste storage systems. The Conservation Stewardship Program, we actually have a deadline coming up of March 15th for that program. That program looks at your operation, and basically we have a set of questions that we have to answer. It kind of rewards you for what you're doing. And then if you're willing to do some enhancements or another practice to help address another resource concern on your property, that actually helps, then you're able to earn that. That program is actually a 5-year program, and the minimum payments over those 5 years starts out at, if you're qualified and eligible, you can get up to $4,000 per year for 5 years, and then you can do enhancements on top of that. So something to keep in mind. We do have some information out at the table if you are interested in that, or you can stop in the office and see me. I do split time between here and Marshall County right now, but as long as you leave me a message or something, we can get back with you and make sure we set up a time to meet. So, and that's kind of all I have, Jim. Do you think you're up next?
Thank you, Troy. Troy's doing a great job here at NRCS. We've, as many of you know, we haven't had a district conservationist for a couple of years now, and Troy's been super filling in on those spots and working with us and you and as landowners in with that partnership. I'd also, while we're on this, I'd like to bring up Meg Leader from SWCD and Lois Mann from CCSI. When we start talking about partnerships and people we work with, Indiana Association of SWCDs, Meg Leader, we're always working with, and CCSI, which is also in the association. I thought I'd bring these two up, and they can discuss a little bit about what's happening at the state level and as far as a partnership. Meg.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, all. Thank you for letting me join you for dinner tonight. I do work for the State Association. For anyone who's not familiar with the Indiana Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts, we work to support local conservation by helping to form and talk to people in Indianapolis on ways to be able to make your job easier out here. Every district across the state is eligible to send a delegate to the business meeting in January. At the business meeting, they vote on their representatives on the association's board, the board's officers, as well as setting policy. And so there's a huge meeting of 92 representatives from all across the state. I myself am the director of a new association program called Resilient Indiana. It is funded with a combination of federal Inflation Reduction Act funds and local Indiana Clean Water Indiana funds. And the purpose of the program is to support the local districts. And so I, in about a month, will be hiring about a dozen field technicians who I will be overseeing, whose own job is to connect with the districts within each of their regions on what the district projects are and how they can help with those district projects to make them more successful and be able to increase the impact, build capacity within your districts across the state. So I'm very much looking forward to getting them hired and talking to district boards about how this might be a resource that they would like to be able to tap into. And with that.
Thank you, Mick. Hi, I am Lois Mann with CCSI. Stands for the Conservation Cropping Systems Initiative out of Indianapolis. I am your Northeast Indiana program manager. So I work with 22 counties in the Northeast. And CCSI is part of the Conservation Partnership. There are 8 organizations within the Conservation Partnership, and I brought my cheat sheet along. Indiana Soil and Water Conservation Districts Association, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, Indiana Department of Natural Resources, Indiana State Department of Agriculture, Division of Soil Conservation, Purdue Cooperative Extension Service, the State Soil Conservation Board, and then 2 federal entities, the USDA Farm Service Agency and the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. Since about 2009, we've grown from a director and a part-time program manager to having a program manager for each quarter of the state. So we're up to 4 program managers. We have 3 agronomists that are available for the districts, and we're looking at adding 1 more agronomist who will have a specialty in machine setup, like no-till planter setups and things. So we're looking forward to that. We assist the districts with field days and events, and we work with Purdue Extension also and NRCS real closely. And we're kind of the back planner of your events. If you need some help advertising or you need flyers done, there's a lot of things that go into an event. Jim knows that. But a lot of the little things that you might overlook. We can help with catering. We can help with porta pots are sometimes real important for a field day. So we are just around to assist districts and the conservation partners in their work so that we can promote soil health in Indiana. I want to thank everyone who is here that is in your own ways helping to promote healthy soil and clean water. Thank you.
Thank you. If you look around the room here in the back, those root banners, those are part of what CCSI does, and Lois brought those up for our event, and we shared those last year as well. Great displays. So that's another state and federal partnership that we use. I'm going to ask Laura to come up and talk a little bit about the programs there at the district level now, and kind of what we do in the office and at the district.
Hi, I handle all the financials in the office. So I take care of tree sale, native plant sale, plat books. When we do native plant sale, I handle all of that. When we do the state tree pickup, when you come to the office to pick that up, I handle all of that. Once Jim goes and picks up all the trees, then when everyone comes to our office, I handle grassroots, all of that mailing. When that goes out, 125 to 130 envelopes that go out every month. The folding of the annual reports, that's a group effort, but I mail them out. Anything else? Plat books, we sell plat books. Sometimes I mail them out. Sometimes people come into the office and they purchase plat books. Water test kits, we sell water test kits. They're $50. Right now, the ones that we're selling are do-it-yourself. They're a new type. They switched over, but we do sell those. Plat books are $25. We're going to be making a new one. So we haven't done one for 4 years. So June, July, we'll have a new one coming out. Okay?
Thank you, Laura. She's the one answering all the phones and taking care of stuff in the office. And she's got 3 very ornery people that work in the office with her and that are out in the field a lot. And so we try to stop in every now and then and make sure that home base is still there. But we appreciate her work there in the office. So the highlights of SWCD. It's been really fun. This last year we had a great we did a lot of neat things, and some of the things that, and a reason I really appreciate like Meg and Lois and Troy being here is those partnerships are awesome. Meg had worked for NACD and many of you were involved in a climate or a carbon pilot program, and we did some of that. It gets noticed. We don't think much of our programs getting real far out of the state, but so I went back, and it's something that really didn't get recognized much because it was actually at a national level. But the North Central region spots in the 2022 annual report for the National Association of Conservation Districts, we were represented. It was Elkhart County. It was our local program that made national news in that, and we made it in their program, and it went through. And so when you look at that North Central spot, there's a few states in there, and so little Elkhart County was in that, and we did it on what we called our Stormwater Management Alliance, our cover crop program, a swamp program that you all are involved in. We showed the return on investment and the value, and those were local dollars. But what they looked at was started from a CWI grant, and that was a Clean Water Indiana grant that comes out, and a lot of that goes through SWCD, state board, and different things like that. So in 2016 we started that, and you guys have been here and know how that all got started, and we went on our own, and we started our swamp program in 2017 to current, and we're using local stormwater fee dollars here from our partnership with the City of Goshen, City of Elkhart, Town of Bristol, and Elkhart County, and that MS4, using our stormwater fee to put conservation on the ground right here and using local dollars. And it's a huge benefit. It's one of the reasons we can put one of these events on, but that was pretty neat. This last year, November, I got an email. They wanted us, Todd and I, to come to San Diego and talk at the National Association of Conservation Districts in San Diego on our water quality of life. And so, if you haven't noticed, I have a couple tubes up here. It's a slake test, and we've done it, and many of you have seen it, and we've been out on field days and different things. But I want you to look at these tubes, and we've done it with elected officials in different places, and Troy does them all the time, I'm sure, and we just had them with NRCS. But I always put them up here because it kind of sets a stage of why we do what we do. We can talk about it, we can set examples, we can explain what the difference is, we can show the return on investments, but until you really see it, you don't believe it. And so this week, since we had our event, Tuesday we started out. This was the first thing I started with. So these clumps of dirt, I pulled them myself. I knew right where they came from. I'm still not going to tell you guys where they came from, because I think the owner of this land would know, and I use that in confidentiality. But he came up to me. But when I put these in, and I challenged the group to come in, and we could see the difference. And so these clumps of dirt have been in here since Tuesday. I don't know, probably 9 o'clock I put them in there. And so the one on my right, as you can see, the water's a little clear. It's pretty clear. There's not much sediment down the bottom, and it's soaked up water. It stayed together. This is 4 years of cover crops and no-till in this field, and I know right where that's at. It's on Basher Road, County Road 30. He came up to me and he said, I hope that's one of mine. It is. And he goes, good, I'm so glad. And I said, now, I want to tell you, the other one in is also yours. And he looked at me and he goes, wait, what? I said, so it takes time. And so as we build relationships, as we build programs, as we build different things, it takes time. Troy, that group back there, knows it doesn't happen overnight. There's a reason you're in a program for 2, 3, 5 years, because it takes time. So this one on my left was a field right across the road from this one. They just picked it up a year and a half ago. So it has one, they no-tilled in it in the spring, put cover crops on it. I pulled it here in March, or not in March, but in February I pulled that sample out. So that's 1 year of cover crops. You can see the roots still there. So what we're going to do is use this as an example of, we'll see how many years it really takes. But my guess is it may take 3, 4 years, depending on how work, but this is the goal of what we're trying to get to, is that clean water, because it shows that water quality of life. And Todd and I put that together in San Diego and did a presentation. And I don't know, Todd, you want to come up here and say a few words about it, or you want me to ramble on about it? We put together the quality of life. And we tried to put together something that was a common denominator of it. And the main thing was water quality. And so we're hoping maybe we put bumper stickers together that you guys could all put on whatever you want, water quality of life bumper stickers, because I think there's a piece of it that we talk about the sediment getting down the ditch, and a lot of people, oh, that never gets there. You'll never get that far. Our soil doesn't get there. Okay, but you track it. It gets out on the roadways. It's a mess. Somebody's got to wash your car. So whether it's in the city, whether it's out in the country, it's a quality of life issue. So we want to make it a water quality of life issue and clean this up. And I think this is kind of where this was. So we went out to San Diego. I had an idea in mind. We've been looking for long-term conservation. We really want, I think, and the reason I say, and I bring this up and show these as examples, is it takes a while to do this. And I think for these, there's a lot of programs that are starting right now that are, if you start doing this, we'll pay for it. There's a lot of money out there. And we heard today with our sessions and meetings we had, there's a lot of federal, state, local dollars out there for conservation, but not for the person that's been doing it for a long time. Look at the difference. There's a lot of clean water. We're getting a lot. And as you look at these tubes, I want you to kind of look, and after the meeting, come up here and look at them, because they've been up here for a couple days. I want you to see where the water level is. And I love the fact that I have Jason Kaufman here from the city of Goshen, because we all live close to this area. We know 2018, Goshen flooded out. Look at the amount of volume. So these tubes had the exact same amount of water in them. This has still got about the same amount of water sitting here, same height. This one here, it dropped probably 3/8 of an inch. So guess what? That soil turned into a sponge. So there's 3/8 of an inch of water that went into this clump of soil, and is now, we're using that as a sponge. This is what we're trying to get, and I'm trying to get programs that reward those good stewards of the land that are here, and it's ongoing. And it can go on generation after generation after generation. As we look at the young people around here, hopefully they will learn to and understand and appreciate the stewardship of our landowners around Elkhart County, that we can put this in here. But when we went to San Diego, that was our goal. I wanted to connect. I wanted to get in touch with people that would help us move that pendulum a little farther. We got out there and we thought, well, two farm kids from Indiana, we're going out to San Diego. Let's see how this goes. We sat in those sessions out there, and we both looked at each other afterwards, and we were like, I think we're okay. And it wasn't that we needed to do stuff different. It reassured us what we're doing is good. It reinforced me and my thoughts on our way back. I had new ideas like, nope, I don't need, we need them, but we can do it here locally. And we can make this a strong practice, strong program that we can do it locally, because we're already doing it. And you here, sitting here, are here for a reason, because you care, and you have conservation minded, and you're a good steward. And I think inevitably we're all good stewards and want to do the right thing, but it reassured me that we're doing it, because we went out there and Todd did all the numbers. I'm going to let him tell you the numbers kind of where we stand as far as from Elkhart County at a national and state level.
So to take it kind of back even a little bit further, when Jim and I were asked to speak at the county summit to our county officials and elected officials and some of our department heads about water quality of life, because we have been going in every single month and speaking to our county commissioners every opportunity that we get about the relationship that this stormwater and agricultural piece share. And for some people, they seem very different. But Jim already made some real connections that are very similar. And, you know, I think that people that work in construction tend to feel like they get picked on because they are operating under a general permit and they are being looked at very differently because they're under a lens, and there's a reason for that. We've heard it several times today. A construction site will shed soils 100 times more than a farm field. There's some truth in that. However, they feel like farmers kind of get a pass because you guys have some agricultural exemptions, because you tend to be good stewards of the land, and everyone that's in this room is that. But what we have been trying to do is bring those two together to understand this. So we've had to put this into words and get people to understand. Here in Elkhart County, we know it's a 50-50 proposition. We are, and some numbers that are eye-popping, because Jim's right, I have to put all this together because when you're speaking to a national audience, they may have heard of Elkhart County, but they don't really know what we're all about. So, you know, I think everybody in here knows we're the RV capital of the world, right? There's nowhere else that makes as many RVs as we do. We pump them out like crazy, and that drives much of the growth in this area. We also boast the nation's largest Norfolk Southern rail yard. I mean, if you guys have ever had the opportunity to get on that thing, it's immense. It's incredible. We have the second largest county fair in the nation, on which we're standing right now, in the nation. So that tells you we have industry, but we also have a thriving agricultural group that we have here. But we're also number 3 in the state of Indiana in market value of agricultural products sold. So you think about agricultural products, and we produce corn, we do a lot of row crops, but I think the thing that really jumped out at me is that this is between this and Elkhart County and Kosciuszko County, we're the number 1 producer of ducks in the world. There are no places that produce more ducks than we do here, and that's mostly an export. I mean, there's not a lot. How many of you have had duck in the last week? But man, we are growing them by the millions. 8 million a year come through here in just the barns that we have built in the last 5 years. So think about that. That's a tremendous amount of production. So when you try to get people to understand what we're up against, and this is where the correlation is, every one of those duck barns that got built had to give us a stormwater pollution prevention plan that we reviewed. And those people had to operate in the agricultural side of things under the same rules that the people in the RV industry were having to operate under. And so we're getting some people that don't ordinarily have to follow these rules having to all of a sudden learn a little bit about this. So when we bring together, and I tallied it up, we've had 640 people that we've reached in the last 3 days that have come into this building and had some education that we've provided. Those people are starting to get the correlation. And I think you guys, just hearing what I'm saying, I see some light bulbs on some of your heads. It's absolutely connected. And I think our approach and doing this in San Diego and realizing that we have an opportunity to not only do this here, but to have an impact on what people are doing around the state and then nationally, that's very impactful. So Jim and I are very proud of having that opportunity to go and do that. I think we have a vision for something that is what would be considered an agricultural BMP. We are planting cover crops, we're cleaning up our water, we're holding it back before it gets into our waterways, the same way we're doing that on a construction site. And I have some gentlemen from Ancon Construction here. They know what it's like to be regulated. They understand all of it. They have to go through the process. But hopefully they're kind of seeing that we have people in the ag industry that are doing things that are cleaning up our water, just the same as a silt fence would, just the same as putting it through a pipe and getting it into a retention basin would. So there's a direct relationship, and that's what this is all about. Storm water, quality of life, water quality of life. So we've really been preaching that. But I think it's imperative that going forward, when we are looking at ways to get people engaged in other things as an SWCD, we have to look at things a little bit differently than just the typical, let's put some things together, let's go to a meeting and check the box. We want to make a big impact. We want to make it here. We want to make it everywhere. So understand that we've really been making efforts in that, and Jim especially has been making huge strides in making connections with people around the state and also around the USA. So hopefully that
Yeah, no, that he's right. And when we got out there to San Diego, and he brings up a good point. A lot of the programs that were offered up, and I'm not going to shortchange anybody because those programs are great, but this here, we're not doing it. Todd and I didn't do this. You did this. Landowners are doing this for us. We're not planting most of those programs at the national level that we sat in and watched. It was them doing the work. We're asking for more money to do, for them to get employees and do. This is, you guys are taking advantage of a local program that isn't requiring more staff, isn't requiring more upkeep in the office. You guys are actually putting it on the ground. And that's where I think the most important piece of this is actually putting conservation on the ground. These are the rewards right here. 4 years. You couldn't believe that the eyes on Mark's. When I told him it was his dirt, he went over, grabbed his dad, his brother, his uncle, got him up here, and he was so proud of that. And Richard and I were going home today. I took Richard up to the house. I passed him. He was hauling manure on it. And he waved. He knew exactly where he was, because he knew where I pulled down that sample, and he was waving as he pulled in, and he's hauling manure on it. It's a dairy farm, so I mean it's corn silage, chop, but they're right back in with cover crops and no-till, and this is exactly what we wanted the program to do. We wanted to hit dairy farm. We're number 2 in the country, state, on dairy. I mean, everybody knows our rotation is corn. That's it on a lot of this ground. So this is what it started for, and this is where we want to go. So I'm not going to keep rambling here, but we got a CWI grant for 2024. So I'm opening up. So we are doing an enhanced field border. We're going to add it onto our program this year. So we're going to try to take those marginal areas out of your field that are not as productive as other spots. Put them into something that we can hay, graze, mow, just put pollinators in. There's a money back. There's an incentive program now for that, whether it's along the side of the road, side of the woods, up along the ditch, almost like a filter or buffer strip. We added that in. The other piece that we added in was a feasibility study to look at long-term conservation. Build what is the best long-term solution for conservation. If we have CRP ground that's coming out, and Troy knows these, do you have to re-enroll? Do you take it out? What happens to it? We don't want to see it turn back under. Keep it in. From a county standpoint, from a municipality standpoint, I keep looking at the city of Goshen because they're on it, and the other municipalities are great, but we have so much water coming into the city of Goshen. If we can look upstream and hold that water back, and so we can take advantage, there's value. And these municipalities, entities, manufacturers, local residents look at that value going up. So that's a study there. The other one that we put in there was educational events. We did it. We put one on. When I say partners, and I use NRCS, IASWCD, CCSI as partners, I'm looking at Caramita. You guys, great. I look at these guys that stepped up. We put on an event. I didn't have to use my grant money. Thank you. We have partners. We didn't know. We took a risk. These guys, we didn't know what was going to happen. We had a bunch of sponsorship and vendors come in that helped support you out here as stewards of the land to put on events. that gives us more grant money that we can put on now program in the fall. We can do other things. It frees that up. But we did. We went after and got a Clean Water Indiana grant for those items, and we have that for the next 3 years. So I'm warning you, hang on. We're gonna take a wild ride, and I think we can make it fun. That's part of the deal here. I always like to put a little piece of ourselves in it, and I look at the program. When Jenna was doing the program, I looked at her screensaver the other day, and I was like, man, it's beautiful. Well, that's where I grew up. Put it on the program. Well, it's not Elkhart County. So what? That's a piece of you that's how you grew up. So when you look at the program, you got to put a piece of, I look at this. Been at this dealership. I've been behind this thing for 25 years selling parts. I can't begin to tell you how much oil, grease, and diesel fuel and whatever, manure, has been sprayed out across the front of this on a hydrostat, or who's come across the counter to buy those parts. I think each and every one of you guys are like the pay dirt that I use are the veteran prospectors. And I view all of you, no matter what you do here in the county, you're veteran prospectors. And that's what we do. We go out and learn, and we have a goal. You take pride in what you do, and it's motivating. And it's contagious. And you start to glob on to people that want to be part of this and go. And I'm really proud. And that's my highlight. I can throw numbers, but this here is my highlight. This is what we want. And we can throw out all sorts of ROI numbers. We can throw out how much we save. But at the end, it comes down to water quality. And so I'm looking forward to this year, moving through. It's going to be neat. Anybody has interest in signing up in some programs, Troy has lots. We try to fill in them small gaps and fulfill those. So thank you, because you guys are the ones putting the work on the ground. So thank you very much. Again, I don't have my program with me, and now I don't even know where I'm at anymore. So I think I've turned it over to, I think Jenna's next. Dean does, yes, because when I do partnerships, yes, Dean, I forgot. So along with a lot of the stuff we do, those partners, Purdue Extension. I look at Crystal back there, and she spent 3 days here hanging out with us, doing stuff. You guys remember Jeff Burbrink was in that spot, and Crystal probably knows I'm not the Jeff. I don't want to be known as Jeff. I'm Crystal, and that's awesome. But they started a Jeff Burbrink Scholarship Fund here in LaGrange for Elkhart and LaGrange, and I'm going to have Dean Rink share a little bit about that for Jeff.
Thank you, Jim. And Crystal, welcome to Elkhart County. And Jim and Todd have emphasized education so much here in the last few moments. And Jenna's going to talk about education. And if there was a title for this meeting, it would probably be education. Learn, learn, learn. And it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen quickly, but it takes years. I can remember my grandfather plowing with a moldboard plow with an M and a 3-bottom, and there was water in the plow furrow. And I didn't ask the question, but years later, I think I asked my dad, why'd he plow so wet? Well, if I got dry, he wouldn't be able to pull the plow because of compaction. So it's taken years and years to be educated and to learn the seriousness of compaction. So I'd like to talk about an educator and share with you something that people in Elkhart County are trying to put together. And Jim mentioned Jeff Burbrink worked in Extension, was an Extension educator for over 30 years in Elkhart County. And he recently kind of retired from Elkhart County, although he continues to be an Extension educator in LaGrange County. And while he was in Elkhart County, he served on many boards, the Plan Commission and the Elkhart County Parks Department, and many livestock organizations, and he was always involved in the fair, and he was always educating. So a group of people got together recently and decided that there ought to be a Jeff Burbrink scholarship fund for any high school graduates that would like to attend Purdue. One of Jeff's favorite extension organizations was the Master Gardeners Association, which he began in 1996. And during the years of his Master Gardener programs, he educated over 600 people that became certified Master Gardeners. And one of the emphasis in that program is that he encouraged all Master Gardeners to do some form of community service to continue to pass on their education to others in the community or wherever they were and wherever they lived. So giving students scholarships to further their education at Purdue if they're studying agriculture or wherever they go. So the Purdue alumni of Elkhart County, and there's a scholarship committee working with the Purdue Foundation of Elkhart County, and Purdue Foundation is a 501c3. So I'm just giving you this information to share with you about this scholarship. So if you are interested, or your organization or your business or anyone you're associated with, or you or any of your family would be interested in contribution or donation towards the Jeff Burbrink Scholarship Fund to enable a graduate to go to Purdue, you can do that through the Purdue Foundation. So I just wanted to let you know that. Is Jerry, do you have anything to add? Oh. Yes. I'm telling you a secret. Yeah. Jerry, if you didn't know Jerry Goshert, exactly. Thank you, Jerry. If you didn't know, Jerry works for the Farmers Exchange and has written many articles about Elkhart County and the fair and Jeff Burbrink and over the years. So yes, I'm sharing this information with you, but it's a secret. You just don't tell Jeff, but spread the word and tell everybody else. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you. So now, Todd or Jenna.
Thank you, Dean. So every year we put together a list of our state of the stormwater, and it's in the annual report if you'd like to take a look at it. I'm not going to bore you by reading off the statistics that you guys can already see, but one of the trends that we did have was that we did drop in the amount of active projects that we had in the county. And for those of you who don't know, an active project is something that would have disturbed more than 1 acre of land, and then they have to submit a stormwater pollution prevention plan, and we review those. The downturn in the RV industry is the main reason for that, but what's really switched over is we've had a lot of, we were doing a lot of warehouses, we were doing a lot of factories, we're doing a lot of manufacturing industries. We've obviously slowed down with that. We've done some building additions, but what's going in right now is a lot of infrastructure. NIPSCO, AEP, everybody is upgrading because the next time this comes around, it's all going to need to be in place. So we're seeing a lot of those projects throughout the county trying to catch up to what we've put in place with our development. But with this downturn and this opportunity to not be so laser focused on what's going on with inspections, and like Jim kind of touched on, we put a lot of effort into our 3-day pay dirt event, and we feel like in Elkhart County we're not going to be the heavy-handed regulators. Our approach to everything is, let's get out in front of it, Let's educate as many people as we can on the proper way of doing things or a better way of doing things, and help them to figure out how to do it. And if they are not sure how to do it, we're there to lead, guide, and direct. And we may have made ourselves very available in that way. Now, I've heard several people in the trainings that we've had talk about if we don't have any regulation, there will be little compliance. It's imperative that we have something there as a guideline on what we need to be doing, because we don't need the wild, wild west. But we are taking a little bit different approach, because I think everybody would rather learn and have an opportunity, because there's a lot of people that just don't know. So we have worked really hard, and we started off last year. It was I don't know, August, and we said, hey, we're going to do everything together. We're going to just do one big bang event, and we'll see who comes. And like I told you earlier, we had 640 people in 3 days. That's a lot of people getting educated. If anybody was here, you saw how it was. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, this is kind of the showpiece, but we had every single room in this place filled with people learning from experts in the field and getting knowledge about things that they may or may not have understood. So I think it was fantastic. And everyone I talked to and all the relationships that I made and all the people I shook hands with and met have been thankful for this, because it's not something we've done very well lately. And I think we've really got that to the point where we understand what we need to do and how we need to do it. So in terms of meeting people, Jim pointed out Richard DeWitt, and this is a person who has been working, he did not work in Elkhart, but he worked in Franklin, Indiana, and he had to take something and really just build it all by himself. And he had some people that helped him, but one of the things that was an obstacle for him was he was just sort of handed it to and said, here, you need to figure this out and do it. And I think that's how a lot of what we do has sort of been there. We have a lot of relationships and a lot of partners, but we're oftentimes handed down some regulations and told, you know what, you just need to figure it out and you need to do it. And then everybody shares ideas, but there's little continuity from one county to the other. So there's no expert way, there's no expert kind of training, and you have to find out a lot of it on your own. And I think a lot of you can relate in your position. You've probably done something in your job where you've been told to do something and you had no earthly idea of how to do it. That's what MS4 and stormwater has been for a very long time, and we're just now getting to the point where I think we are getting it figured out. So I'm not going to say anything else. I really appreciate having the opportunity to stand in front of you and have all of you here. I'm thankful that you all came. I want to get to the point where we can reward some of these kids for all their hard efforts and their posters that they did, because I think they're beautiful. And another thing, Laura came up and she talked about, I just want to say something really quick. Laura talked about some of the things that she does in our office, and we lovingly call her the bulldog, because she's got to be responsible for meeting all the deadlines. She's got to be the one that gets the money where it needs to go. She's got to be the one that really keeps us on task, because like Jim said, we're out in the field. We're doing all kinds of different things. She's the one that anchors us down. So she's more than just somebody who's selling plat books. She's more than just somebody who's answering the phone. She's kind of the lifeblood that keeps us, that glues us and makes sure that we stay in line. So I really appreciate Laura for all that she does. And it's hard to stand and say what she does, because she does so many little things that are so critical to the success of the SWCD. When we were putting this event together, we had a lot of money coming in and a lot of money going out. And I can tell you, I'm not a checkbook guy, but Laura managed every last bit of it. And that is part of what made it so successful. So thank you, Laura. We really appreciate that. And anybody who has a chance, pat Laura on the back, tell her thank you. But the other person I need to thank, and she's coming up next, because for those of you who have ever been on our website, Jenna built it from the ground up. This is not anything she majored in college. This is not, she did it on her own. And I was going to put together the pay dirt event, and I sent her a picture of a piece of paper that I took out of my daughter's coloring books, basically, drew a tractor and a dump truck side by side, and I did one field full of dirt, and I had corn behind it, and it was this whole messed up thing of showing the relationship between agriculture and stormwater. And Jenna was like, "What is that?" It's 5 o'clock on a Friday night. She's like, "Why are you sending me this?" I'm like, "I need you to make this we're branding our event." She's like, "Whatever, just talk to me on Monday." So I go into the office on Monday morning, and sure enough, there's Jenna on her computer. She has the best computer in the county. I promise you, it's amazing, except for that stuff that they've got over there in IT. But she's already putting together this logo because she's really good at it. And she makes things that come out of my crazy brain, and she turns them into really great pictures, and it's posted everywhere. It's all over. So, Jenna, thank you. If you would want to come up, everybody, Jenna, wait.
Thanks, Todd. I'm blushing with all the compliments you gave me. So last year was a very busy for education. We did tons of things, and we had a lot of fun doing it. I always say I get the fun part of the office because I get to go out and play with kids and adults and play in the dirt for a living. It's awesome. So last year, we were able to reach over 75,000 people just with education and outreach events. So we see some of those people in person. Some people we send our augmented reality sandbox down to the state fair. Oh yeah, someone forwarded that for me. We also reached another 66,000 people through our social media. So that includes our Facebook and our Instagram. And as Todd was talking about the website, we had over 9,000 unique visitors. So that's 9,000 individual people who have visited our website last year. We also, since offering grassroots newsletter, we have included 400 more recipients since we have now gone digital with it as well as printed. And as always, we hosted our Indiana Master Naturalist class. It is always full. It's always fun. And so we actually had 23 students this year, and they were very motivated individuals, and many of them have gotten their hours already. And last year I started something. I won't say I started something new, but I improved on a program I was already doing. So one of my favorite programs to teach is worms. And if you know me, I get really geeked out about them. And I had been doing a program where I'd sit and I'd talk with the kids, and then we would play with worms. Of course, the worms were the favorite part. You know, they'd listen to me talk a little bit, but, you know, they're squirreling around, not really paying attention. So last year, as most things start in our office, it started as an idea. We put it on paper, and we made it come to life. So I brought a little friend with me here today, and I would like you guys to meet him. So give me just a second. I'm going to get him. So I created Walden. So Walden is my friend that I take into the classroom, and I think he might want to meet you guys. Do you guys want to meet him? Yeah? All right. Hey, Walden, do you want to meet my friends? Oh, you guys said be really quiet and really still because he's a little scared. Oh, Walden. So this is Walden. I take him into the classrooms, and he actually has his own little voice. And so I'm pretty well doing the same program, and I'm teaching the kids the same stuff. But Walden here, he really captures their attention. I go into classrooms, and one time a kid asked, she was like, "Who is this lady?" And the other kid goes, "I know who she is. She's the worm lady." But then another kid goes, "No, she's the super worm lady." And it's always so fun because the kids that I saw last year, and they were the first ones that did Walden, And I saw them about 2 months later. They still remembered me. And their parents that were on the same field trip, they're like, "You're the worm lady? My kid talked about you for about 2 weeks or longer." So Walden's really fun. And so I wanted you guys to meet him here tonight because he's pretty successful in the classrooms. Thanks, Walden. Every year, we recognize outstanding community members who have gone above and beyond to protect natural resources in Elkhart County. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our awards. So if you are a poster contest winner, can you guys come stand up in front of the stage, please? I know there are many of you guys here tonight. So if you guys look on your tables, I'm sure you guys already noticed, but there are placemats. Those placemats, there's different ones at each table. Those are our 9 top winners. And there were so many posters, and it was so hard to choose. So we had a little committee get together, and we tried to pick the top winners, but they were all so great. Let's see. So we had 3 different age categories, and the theme for this year was One Water. So one thing we try to encourage the kids to do is do a little research on the topic. And so One Water is kind of going into that watershed that people live downstream from other people. And so we want to be conscious of that and that we all are using one water. So in our K through 2nd group, our first place winner was Graham Worsler. If you want to step forward. Yep. Congratulations. And in 2nd place, in the K through 12 grade group, we had Macy All, which I don't believe is here. And she was in 2nd grade. And then in 3rd place for the K through 2nd group was Vienna Stutzman. Is Vienna here? There we go. Great job. You guys can see her poster up there. And in the 3rd through 5th category, our first place winner was Bentley Metzler. Great job. And the 2nd place winner was Clarabelle Yoder. And in 3rd place, we had Connor Fry. In the 6th through 8th grade, we had first place winner who is also in the annual report. If you guys open that to the center section, that is also her poster. I must got a little out of order here. Audrey Miller. And our last 2 are not here, I don't believe. And that was in 2nd place, Lisa Bontrager. And in 3rd place, we had Elena Wingard. So I want to say thank you to all of you who drew pictures. You guys did a wonderful job. And I hope you guys enjoyed doing it as well and learned a little bit. Thanks, guys. Now, every year we choose an Educator of the Year. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here tonight. So our Educator of the Year is Amy Hively from Northridge High School. We have worked with Amy several years now. She is a wonderful teacher. She teaches 8th grade, and every year we take a group of Northridge students out to Riverbend Park in Middlebury, and we do a big water quality field trip. So this is a week-long event, so we've got all the kids coming out throughout the week, and it's a lot of fun, not just for the kids, but us adults as well. We get to play in the water, but we get the waders. The kids get the water shoes, and that water is very cold. But Amy, or Mrs. Hively has been teaching at Northridge Middle School for more than 20 years. Majority of that time has been spent with 8th grade science students. Mrs. Hively is also a Northridge Middle School track coach and a National Junior Honor Society sponsor. Her favorite lessons in 8th grade science are the ones in which students are engaged in labs or hands-on activities. And those are my favorite as well. So we will be giving her her award at a later time, but we can still give her a round of applause. And next up, we're going to talk about our Conservation Farmer of the Year.
Thank you. Walden went back in his hole. He's hiding. It's my honor and privilege to be able to present conservation awards tonight. And the first one we're going to recognize is Conservation of the Year Farmer for this year. The 2023 Conservation Farmer of the Year is David Hess. David's family farming operation consists of corn, soybeans, hay, and cattle. He has been farming, no-tilling his farm operation for nearly 20 years, which has improved water infiltration and reduced surface water runoff into Yellow Creek, which runs through the farm. In addition to minimizing tillage, Hess has added cover crops on his farm with the goal of building organic matter as well as an option for feeding his cattle. He has found that no-till combined with cover crops has helped reduce moisture loss and has improved soil quality. He also follows nutrient and pest management plans to optimize fertilizer and herbicide applications, using the smallest amount possible to get the maximum results. In 1994, 35 acres of highly erodible ground was put into a 10-year USDA CRP contract. Wildlife borders have been installed along the woods to create proper habitat. Forest management practices have been put in place, and timber harvests have been done periodically per forester recommendations. In addition to the conservation practices on the land, he constructed 2 heavy-use paddocks for winter feeding cattle. This practice has increased pasture potential. Rotational grazing and automatic waters have added value to the operation, allowing the cows and calves to travel less for feed and fresh water. On the farm, you will also find filter strips, grassed waterways, exclusion fencing, and several grade stabilizations. David's goal is to make sure his wise use practices help his farming operation and positively impact the future. These conservation practices directly help the Yellow Creek watershed that affects the water quality in the Elkhart River. The reduced soil erosion from the rolling Harris Township farm and improved water quality creates not only healthier soil, but also greater return on investment for Hess. Dave has also been involved in Elkhart County as county commissioner, administrator, auditor, currently serving as member of the county council. He has attended and participated in many of SWCD's field days activities throughout the years, as well as offering up his own farm to show demonstrations on. This attitude and conservation mindset has helped to encourage others to implement cover crops and conservation practices around the county. And the Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District thanks Dave Hess for being a good steward of the land in Elkhart County. And I would like to add that the Ag Society presents the Uncle Elmer Award to individuals in Elkhart County who have made extraordinary contributions to agriculture. And in this case, Dave Hess will receive this award for conservation. But I'd also like to point out that in 1992, Dave's dad, Lloyd, received the Uncle Elmer Award from the Ag Society organization. In 2013, Dave received that Uncle Elmer Award from the Ag Society. So it's quite an honor for me to stand behind the Hess Brothers display case and present Dave Hess with the Conservation Farmer of the Year Award. Would you join me as we welcome Dave? another plaque for your wall, Dave.
Thank you. I'm really honored to receive this. He just mentioned my dad, and I was thinking today of, we talk about legacy, and my dad was so conservation minded. My dad, born in 1916, was in high school at a very tumultuous time in this country. You had the Great Depression, and you had the Dust Bowl and the dust storms. And I think the thing that I always remember was he was probably a person that was impacted more by what was going on in the West and those kinds of things. In fact, I've got a scrapbook that he made in high school. I was going to bring it along tonight. It's in the attic. I can't find it. And my wife said, quit looking. But, I got an early start on these kind of things because every year he'd get trees. And we'd plant 100, 150, 200 pine trees every year and those kinds of things. I was probably 5, 6 when that happened. And he'd always tell me, he said, I think I should have gone back to Purdue and gone into the soil conservation service. Instead, he taught biology, and he taught a lot of kids over the years about conservation. But it's just a real special award, and this is kind of neat. This bulldozer here. I put in a lot of grass waterways and terraces and those kinds of things. I probably moved a couple 100,000 tons of dirt with that, but it was all in the sand pile. And that's pretty well worn out. So if they'd ever sell it, I wouldn't buy it because it's worn out. But this is just a real honor. In 1967, when I started really farming with more intensity, I decided to go conservation tillage. And I will admit, I made a mistake. I bought a chisel plow. And I remember Hummel, I can't think of his, Lester Hummel, come out and he said, you need to buy a no-till planter. Well, boy, that was an awful big leap to go from plowing to no-till in 1968. So I had a couple of years of intermediate there where I chiseled, but it's still conservation. So this is a real honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Again, I'd just like to reiterate, and the Hess family, Grandpa Lloyd did an extremely amount of work at the fairgrounds. The Homestead Barn and the blacksmith shop and the wood shop and many of those buildings, Lloyd Hess had his hand in constructing and building and just making the fairgrounds better for everyone. And how Dave has served the community in many ways that we're not even aware of. And now Jim, Soil and Water Conservation District, we're just very thankful and grateful for the dedication and the contribution and the sacrifice that the Hess family has made for generations. So thank you, Hess family. I would also like to present the River Friendly Farmer Award. The 2023 River Friendly Farmer is Prairie Dairy, the Stoltzfus family. In these days of water quality concerns, there are those that are utilizing conservation practices on their farms that are protecting waterways and water quality in Indiana and beyond. In Elkhart County, Prairie Dairy is among 48 farmers who received the statewide award of River Friendly Farmer at the Indiana State Fair. This award, hosted by the Indiana Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts, recognizes landowners and farmers in the state of Indiana for the work that they do on their land to protect Indiana's natural resources. The Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District nominated Prairie Dairy for the award based upon their farm management practices. Some of the conservation practices used on the Stoltzfus farm are conservation crop rotations, no-till, strip-till, cover crops, waterways, and pollinator strips. Since 1999, key conservation and agriculture organizations have sponsored the River Friendly Farmer program. The statewide initiative recognizes farmers who, through good production management practices, helps keep Indiana's rivers, lakes, and streams clean. The River Friendly Farmer Award has been presented by the Indiana Association, sponsored by 92 local soil and water conservation districts and the Indiana Farm Bureau Incorporated. This year's group of award winners brings the total number of river-friendly farmers in Indiana to 1,100 since the beginning of the award. We'd like to thank you, Tim Lowell and Carl Stoltzfus, for your conservation practices and stewardship in Elkhart County. Your efforts improve the water quality in our community and beyond. Is there anyone here from the Stoltzfus family? I didn't think so, but we would like to thank them anyway for their contribution in protecting our streams and ditches and waterways. So thank you for that. Dale, I think, is going to come tell us about another award.
Thank you, Dean. The SWCD is thankful to have so many friends, partners, and supporters. The 2023 friend of the SWCD is Tom Coombs, a chief meteorologist at ABC 57. Since the inception of the SWAMP program in 2016, Tom has played an integral role in promoting and distributing cover crop information to farmers and his viewing audience. His efforts as a meteorologist have provided many farmers considering cover crops as a path to conservation that they may not have otherwise considered. He has done several segments featuring the Elkhart County SWCD and farmers around the community. He has played a role in the Goshen City's Environmental Resilience program with the coverage of the flooding during 2018, in which he explained the importance of holding the water back by using cover crops. Tom has attended many of the SWCD's workshops as a presenter, panelist, or moderator. We could not ask for a better advocate for conservation and friend than Tom. Tom has grown up in the Michiana area all his life, graduating from Washington High School in South Bend, and then went on to Purdue University in West Lafayette. Tom enjoys traveling, outdoors, gardening, grilling, and biking to the South Bend Farmers Market in the summer. The SWCD wants to thank Tom for all he does and reminds him that his stewardship towards conservation goes far beyond the network's viewing area. Unfortunately, Tom was unable to make it tonight due to prior commitments. Tom received his award Tuesday at the Pay Dirt event. But please give Tom a hand for what he does. Todd?
Thank you, Dale. The Urban Environmental Stewardship Award in 2023 goes to Lloyd Yoder from Ancon Construction. Over the past year, Lloyd has worked on 2 different projects in Elkhart County, with most of his time spent on the new Elkhart County Consolidated Courts project in the city of Goshen, which he gave me a tour when I went to take his picture, which I greatly appreciated. Lloyd has been in the construction industry for over 43 years, 34 of those years with Ancon. Lloyd is being recognized for this award because of his commitment to his projects, from meetings with the various county officials for progress updates to being the first smiling face the SWCDs when we enter one of his projects. Lloyd has been faced with many challenges over the last year, but has managed to work within the confines of the CSGP and continue to serve Ancon and their clients' needs. In my last conversation with Lloyd, he commented that he makes sure to learn all of the names of the people he works with, and he tries to talk to them every day. His willingness to be out on the job with the guys has endeared him to all that he works with. Outside of work, Lloyd enjoys traveling, but admits he does not do it as much as he would like to. He is a brother to 4 siblings and has a wife of 38 years who has supported him through his years of working in the construction industry and all that lifestyle brings. He found his passion for construction from a very young age when he would run out to the road and see what NIPSCO or the local road crew was doing and how they were doing it. He realized the impacts of sediment on our waterways when he was tasked with a project that required dewatering and discharge was approved to go into a dry creek bed. Having to manage the rate of flow and the filtration to prevent erosion and keep the site intact proved to be a challenge. It is an honor for the Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District to present Lloyd with this award. Lloyd is another example of someone, even after 43 years, learning and growing in his position, while recognizing the major impacts that our ever-expanding urban areas pose to our water quality and our quality of life. On behalf of the SWCD, Lloyd, if you'd come up and get your award.
Thank you very much, Todd and Jim. I like your common sense approach to your jobs.
Common sense. Thank you, Lloyd. And if there's a trend here, all of the people that get this award are people that the first time I have an interaction with them, it's not good. And if you guys don't know, there's a small little part of the county that has been annexed by the town of Syracuse, and we had a project down there that was at the very bottom of a hill, and literally every drop of water that falls within a half a mile up the road goes onto this project site, and it was designed appropriately, and they just had a string of bad weather. And I happened to be looking for Lloyd, and he was in the building, and he and I walked the site, and from the time he and I had the first conversation throughout the rest of the project until we were able to close it out, Lloyd was committed to it. He was working at the Consolidated Courts project, and every Saturday, sometimes on Sunday, he would still go and inspect that project until it was done. And that just showed me that not only did he take ownership of what was going on, but he was still working on what I consider to be the most difficult project that we have in the county right now. And it's a testament to his passion and his willingness to do the best that he can at everything he does. So thanks, Lloyd. All right, so do we have I guess we don't have the results of the election. Do we have an election? Do we want to vote for anything? Anybody want to vote for something?
At this time, we'd like to congratulate Keith for joining the SWCD board, and I'd like to ask Keith and do I say Honorable Judge Gretchen Lund to come up to present the judge? Okay.
Mr. Miller, can you hear me? Yes. Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Supervisor of the Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District, upon which you are now about to enter? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Congratulations, Mr. Miller. Thank you for assuming this important responsibility. Thank you.
On behalf of the Soil and Water Conservation District, I'd like to thank all of our affiliate members for your contribution and support for the conservation efforts. And if you'd like to stay up to date with things that are going on with the Elkhart County Soil and Water Conservation District, you can follow us on Facebook, sign up for our grassroots newsletter, or check out our website. That is an ever-growing project that there's always new things getting added to. And with that, I think it's time for adjournment.
If I could have all the award winners and poster contest winners come up, we'd like to get a photo of them. And Jerry Goshert from Farmers Exchange is going to take your picture. I think you just come up front here. We'll get your pictures up front. Please take, there's some apples